this thing on, we have breaking news.
Oh,
Actually, we have 2 breaking news stories, Scott.
yeah, 2.
Okay, so 2. Number 1, I don't know if you heard Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce. How about
Travis Kelce,
Travis Kelce
Travis Kelce.
got engaged? They
Yeah,
announced it today. That
yeah.
is number
Sailor
1.
Swift.
We're
Yeah.
going to talk about that here in a second. And the other news story, which maybe should have been the priority as number 1, is there has been a lot of heat on your favorite store/restaurant,
Oh my
the Cracker
God.
Barrel.
Oh my God. I had never heard of Cracker Barrel, 2 months ago or however long it's been, and now it's like front and center in the news, like the top story. It's just been replaced by Travis and Taylor. Maybe they'll get married at the Cracker Barrel. Maybe they will go on their honeymoon at the Cracker Barrel, like Gabrielle and I. It feels like somehow, some way, Taylor and Travis will end up at a Cracker Barrel, because then the internet would definitely melt down.
I think they would break the internet if they
Yeah.
were spending, just like you and Gabriella,
Hmm.
their wedding, their honeymoon travels at the
Yeah.
Cracker Barrel. But
Yeah.
I mean, it's possible. We don't know, so it could be
Right.
true. They
Yes.
could be
They could
making
be
plans to go to Cracker Barrel.
Exactly. They could be planning their wedding at Cracker Barrel, and that's why they just that's why they changed the logo, was because Taylor demanded that if she's going to get married there, then that she doesn't want an old man in a rocking chair next to the words Cracker Barrel, and they succumbed to her demands. It's very possible. Yeah.
Oh God! And when
Yeah.
I looked at the photo shoot, because Taylor Swift announced it on her Instagram,
Yeah.
and maybe among other places, I don't know. But when I saw the news hit and they mentioned photos, I was like, well, I have to go find the photos.
And they're at the Cracker Barrel.
They might be. One will never really know. But my feeling, my psychic imprint on it was that it was probably some very hidden, either soundstage or very secluded yard in someone's house, because it just felt like it was just them.
Mm-hmm.
So I wouldn't be surprised if it was just like one person knew, because it felt very, very secretive. But anyway, they're over on Taylor Swift's, her engagement photos, Travis Kelce, over on her Instagram, if anybody wants to go look. I thought the photos were very sweet. And the feeling I got from it actually was that they do care about each other. Because I know there's been a lot of speculation of like, is this a PR stunt, or, do they really care about each other? But the photos actually came across really sweet. So welcoming everybody to the show. Let us know in the comments if you've seen Taylor and Travis's engagement photos, Taylor Swift, Travis Kelce. What'd you think of them? You actually have her chart. But before we even start talking about that, just how are you doing in general?
Oh, I'm great. Yeah, doing well. Yeah.
We're just surfing the waves of all this stuff that's happening in the astrology, which we're also going to talk about in a minute, including Venus going into Leo. And maybe Travis and Kelce had an astrologer that said,
it feels that way.
I think so I watched the whole podcast that her and Travis did on Travis and his brother's podcast. And if I'm not mistaken, unless I just dreamt this and I'm making it up, she talked about numerology. And there were clues here and there listening to her talk on that podcast. I thought, you know what? I bet she's really into astrology and numerology and crystals and all that stuff. So it wouldn't surprise me if she asked an astrologer, hey, what day should we get engaged, to try to give us some favorable energy for the marriage. So what do you see in her chart?
Well, I mean, first of all, like the whole thing, like, are they really a couple? Like, do they really like each other? That just all seems very odd to me. I mean, I'm all into the different theories on all the conspiracy stuff, but like, I don't buy that. Anyone that's saying that about them, because, astrologically speaking, I don't know what time he was born, but when he was born, Venus was at 26 degrees in Scorpio. When she was born, Mars was at 26 degrees in Scorpio. So that's her planet that rules the physical act of sex, and his planet, which is the planet that rules love, at the same degree in the same sign. So, that to me says, like, no, these, like, they do like each other. I mean, there's physical attraction and chemistry here for sure. So, and there's other aspects too, but like that's the main one that really jumps out to me. Like when I see Venus, the goddess of love, and Mars, the god of war, connecting to each other, that tells me that there is some sort of connection, physical attraction. Uh, he was also born with the moon in Sagittarius, and she was born with the sun in Sagittarius. I don't know exactly what degree his moon is at, but there's got to be some level of emotional compatibility there with his moon being in the same sign as her sun. It's like she identifies with his emotions. His emotions are reflecting her identity. So, yeah. But as far as like what was going on astrologically for the two of them, did it just come out today? Was that
Yeah.
literally today? Right.
Yep.
So I mean, Mars he's in the midst of his Martian return. Like Mars, he had his Martian return over the weekend. Right now, it's conjunct his sun. So he was born with the sun conjunct Mars in Libra. This is why, he's a football player. He's, courageous. He's willing to go out and hit people. It's not really a Libra thing to do, but when you're born with the god of war conjunct the sun, it gives him that really strong masculine combative energy, as well as, wanting the romance with the Libra, which is ruled by Venus, the goddess of love. But Mars is conjunct his sun and his Mars. So, going through this period of courage. The moon is in Libra, which is ruled by Venus, the goddess of love. So getting engaged or announcing the engagement while the moon is transiting through the sign of relationships, which is ruled by the goddess of love. One day after Venus, the goddess of love, transited into Leo, which is the sign that rules, that represents the queen, that's ruled by the sun, the giver of light, life, and vitality. So anytime you want to have a big show of romance, do it when Venus is in Leo, and her Venus is at 1 degree in Aquarius. So Dallisa, we've been talking about this since the beginning of July, with Saturn and Neptune in Aries, Chiron in Gemini, or not Chiron, but Uranus in Gemini, and then Pluto in Aquarius. All four of those planets are at 1 degree or 0 degrees. Saturn's at 0 degrees, but Uranus is at 1 degree Gemini, Neptune's at 1 degree Aries, Pluto's at 1 degree Aquarius, and Taylor Swift's Venus is at 1 degree Aquarius. So all four of those planets are aligning in a positive way with her Venus, while the transiting Venus just moved into Leo and is opposing her Venus. It's really ripe for her to go through a transformation of her relationship energy. And that's exactly what's going on with her in terms of, I have a fiance, I'm going to get married.
That's a big change.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
So we have a question here. Scott, how often do people experience their Martian return? So Mars returning to the
Yeah.
place where it was when they were born.
every 2 years, and depending if it's retrograding over your number, which doesn't happen every 2 years, but like there's the rare occasion where it could happen 3 times within a couple months if it's retrograding over that number, but generally it's every 2 years.
Okay.
Yeah, because it takes
Yeah.
Mars 2 years to orbit the sun.
Yeah, I would think that anytime you have your Martian return, that, I mean, I know you just talked about retrogrades, but let's just assume for a moment it's going forward or it's hitting you in a favorable way. I think that could be an excellent time to take action in your
Yeah.
life.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, for sure. And action over love, action over relationships, because it's transiting through Libra, which is the sign that's ruled by Venus.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
bet she had an astrologer consult.
I would actually be more shocked if she didn't. If this is just random, I would be even more shocked, because there's just too many like positive aspects here, for it to be a random occurrence. And the other thing is, the sun is at 3 degrees in Virgo today, and when Taylor Swift was born, the moon was at 3 degrees in Cancer. So that's an earth water connection. Her moon is in the sign that it rules, Cancer. This is why, Taylor is so lovable, because, she comes across with just the very kind, like I have a friend who actually met her maybe a couple years ago, like, at a bar, and he was like in a back room. He knew like the person who owned the bar, and she was there with like Blake Lively and maybe a couple other friends, and he's a chef in New York, and he's like came in, like, oh, you want to meet Taylor? He's like, oh, hey, and he was just like, she was really nice and down to earth, and just very unassuming, not like, oh, like I'm Taylor Swift, it's like, it's just like she's just a gal hanging out with her friends, and he happened to be like in the same circle there. But that's that Cancer moon, which is very kind, very nurturing, very caring. And then the sun transiting through Virgo is mutable earth. And so that gives support to her emotions. It's giving structure to her emotions. It's really kind of solidifying in a sense what she's feeling. And Virgo is also about releasing. So it could also be about releasing any emotions or anything from her past that is no longer serving her going forward in this union.
So there's a question about, how to maybe even how you do electional astrology, or how you figure out like what chart would be best for the wedding. Now that would, as far as I understand, you would take her chart, his chart, do a like look at the dates and run it through like your software. At least, modern times you can run it through software and look to see where there's some favorable aspects. And so I think it really comes down to the date, if the moon is moving quickly, and what's going on in their charts. But what do you look at when you're trying to figure out if it's a good or not
Yeah.
so great time to get married?
I mean, that's what I did for my own wedding, which was last weekend. So I just looked at where the planets were aligning with my chart, with Gabriella's chart, with our composite chart, which is when you take both of your planets and you put them together and you find like the midpoint between all of them. So and that's what I look at. I'm like, let's look at where the planets are transiting in relation to those three charts. Your chart, the two people, their individual charts, and then their composite chart, which is like their two charts combined. And I'm just looking for favorable aspects. And I feel really confident about my ability to do that, because, we had a great day, this last weekend, the weekend before. So, it's just about finding you're never going to find a day where it's like, oh, this is, this is perfect. There's no squares. There's no oppositions. There's no tension. That just doesn't exist. There's always going to be some tension. But so you want to just have more favorable aspects, and you really want to look for aspects that involve Venus, the goddess of love. Like just thinking about Taylor and Travis right now, where they have multiple aspects that involve Venus or the moon or the sun. That's what you want to look for, really, those three. Venus is love, the moon is emotions, the sun is vitality. And if you can get Mercury in there, which is going to help with communication, and Mars as well in a positive aspect, which is going to help with courage, then that's, a bonus. And then also Saturn and Jupiter bringing luck and abundance, and Saturn bringing commitment.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Lots to think about. You do composite chart readings for people, right?
Of course. Yeah, I do all the readings.
All the readings.
All the readings, yeah. Just, schedule a reading with me. We can get into like whatever you want to get into. You want to get into your composite chart. You want to get into your astrocartography. You want to know like the best place for you to get married or whatever that may be. I mean, again, it's like there's rarely an instance where it's going to be like exact perfect, but it's about finding what works best for you. It's about finding what's perfect for you.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. And we've got our websites there on the screen, so you can reach out to Scott. I almost called you Travis. Oh my God, we've been talking about Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce, and now my brain is like fried. No, you can reach out to Scott for astrology, all the things astrology, and your Substack. And I know you release your new Substack that had a lot of astrological, historical data in it. The first thing I actually want to talk about is Venus moving into Leo. So that happened yesterday, August 25th, and goes until September 19th. Also, Mercury has finally left its shadow, which I think we can all scream and cheer about. Venus aligns with Saturn, Neptune in Aries, Uranus in Gemini, and Pluto in Aquarius this week. So what the heck does that mean? What are we dealing with here? Because that feels like a whole lot of something.
So, yeah, well, okay. So Venus just transited into Leo, where it is from yesterday until September 19th. So that's where it is going to be transiting through. Leo is fixed fire. It's symbolized by the lion, and it's ruled by the sun. So let's just start there. That's about opening your heart. Leo rules the heart. It's about being bold in the expression of your love. If you're hiding out or you're holding on too tightly, this is going to pull you out of that frequency. So, especially for people that were born between like 1983 and 1995, you were born with Pluto in Scorpio. And so you're somebody that's going to go through a major transformation potentially in terms of your relationship energy. There is going, and that transformation would be, learning to love differently, learning to love more openly. So, but all of us are really experiencing that in some way. We're being called to open our heart more, love more, be more bold in the expression of what it means to love. And, that's kind of, whether it was planned or not, it's kind of a great example. This is what's, how we can really use celebrity to help us navigate our own lives, is to see that like the biggest celebrity just announced her official engagement and love while Venus is in Leo. That's a very Venus and Leo thing to do. So how can you express your love openly, boldly, courageously? Then when you bring it,
they nailed it.
Yeah, they nailed it. Exactly. Then when you bring in Saturn and Neptune, which is happening right now, along with Uranus and Pluto, this is taking responsibility for what it means to love yourself. Because if you can't love yourself, then how are you going to love someone else? love is not something that's happening outside of you. It's something that's happening within you. You can't show your love boldly unless you're feeling it boldly within you. So it's about taking responsibility for loving yourself. It's about being compassionate in recognizing that you deserve love. You deserve to love yourself courageously, boldly, so that you can love others courageously and boldly. Uranus is saying, what is it that you can do radically different? Being pulled out of your comfort zone, perhaps, to show and express your love. Pluto in Aquarius is pulling you out into the community. It's like, even the fact that like I announced that I got married and talked about that's not comfortable for my Scorpio vibes, but Pluto in Aquarius says you can't hide in the den. You can't hide in the hole and just keep it secret from everyone. You've gotta be open.
Mm-hmm.
So in what ways can you be open about expressing your love?
Yeah, great point. Great suggestions for us to work with. We have somebody in the comments that asked, have you ever done a composite chart and thought, oh, please don't get married?
Oh, no.
There's always
No,
like something to work with in the astrology,
well,
right?
I mean, the thing is here's the thing. Like, it's very important for somebody in my position, or maybe even your position, Dallisa. Like, I recognize that I have great power
Mm-hmm.
in the knowledge that I have. And I've had readings before from psychics and numerology people, or, that kind of stuff. And it can be really off putting when they bring their personal biases or opinions into the reading.
Yeah.
That's not my job to decide whether or not you should be with somebody or not. It's my job to explain to you, to the best of my ability, the gifts and the challenges that I see through what I'm looking at, literally what I'm reading in the chart. And so I try to give like a balanced perspective. These are the gifts, these are the challenges, and then it's up to you to decide. It's not, some people might look at a chart and be like, I would not be in this relationship. And I might internally feel that way. But guess what? I'm not in this relationship. I'm not in that relationship. So I don't know what the two people are actually looking for in the relationship, and they may have found it in each other. So like, even looking at Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift, like when I see that Mars conjunct Venus, I'm like, oh, I'm excited, because like that's something personally I'm like, oh, that would be nice. I think that's good, but just because you don't have that in your relationship doesn't mean that your relationship doesn't have love. Your relationship doesn't have attraction, doesn't have romance. I personally don't have that aspect with Gabriella. That doesn't mean that we don't have love and attraction. So, it's just, I want to be neutral, and I want to be positive in showing the gifts and challenges and encouraging people to make the decision that's best for themselves.
Yeah, amen to that. Amen. Yeah, I totally agree. It's not our job to tell people what our opinions are.
Yeah.
Unless, on the rare occasion somebody asks me, hey, Dallisa, what do you personally think about this? Or what
Yeah.
have you tried? Or what have you done? Other than that, like, it is all psychic insight. And even when we talk about charts, and even if you were to think, looking at two charts together, like, ooh, there's going to be some challenges here, maybe there's a soul contract. You think about it from like
Right?
pre-birth, like
Yeah.
like if you're going to get married to somebody or you're going to start a business with somebody, chances are they are a soul contract that was decided on before you were born. And so you may have actually elected, to have some of these challenges in a relationship so that you can grow and evolve from them. So who are we to say, like, don't do it, save yourself the hassle? It's like, yeah, but that's why we're actually here on Earth, is to learn all these things.
Exactly. You bring up a great point. Absolutely.
Yeah. So, okay. So the Venus and Leo stuff, is there anything else you want to add before I move on?
I would just say, especially with Mercury moving out of its retrograde shadow, again, that's interesting that they announced the day after Mercury exited its retrograde shadow. Now's the time to really, with Mercury in Leo, Venus in Leo, and Venus making those connections to Saturn, Neptune, Uranus, and Pluto, move forward. Move forward, act, do what you want to do, as long as it's in the expression of love, and it's, you have that feeling of joy and fun in doing it.
Yeah, we all need a little bit more fun these days, I think.
Yeah.
I went axe throwing on Friday.
So see, that's, What is that? What is that like,
well,
Dallisa?
What it's like for me is kicking and screaming and going, fine, I'll go axe throw. And then going and realizing, wow, this is actually fun.
Yeah.
So gosh, get me out of my comfort zone a little bit.
Totally. Does the axe always hit like something? Does it land with the head, or does the handle bounce off sometimes and fall on the ground? Like, how does that?
Yeah, it doesn't always stick its landing. So when you're throwing it, it's supposed to stick to the wood, but some of them won't, and they just land on the floor. But you're so far away from it, and I wasn't throwing them hard enough that it would bounce back over to me. But the place where the axe throwing was actually had games like Candy Crush. Yeah. And so you would take turns and you would try to hit it on a certain colored square. And then it would delete all of those colors off and give you the corresponding points. So it was like you were playing the game on your phone, but with an axe. But that's right up my alley. Gemini rising, playing games on my phone. Yeah. So I'm like, oh my gosh, it's coming to life, and I'm throwing an axe at it. So,
well, I also think that's a part of your Sagittarius too, because it's the archer. So even just like, aiming at something and do like that action is very much the Sagittarius energy.
And I sucked at first. But then you really sucked. And the guy came over and showed me what to do. And what actually ended up helping is, as I was throwing it, I yelled. I would scream out as I was throwing it. And then I got good.
Yeah.
I was actually competitive when I was screaming.
I love it.
Yeah, there's a secret video, a hidden video that exists somewhere about that. But
I want to see it. You got to send it to me. I love watching the women's tennis matches and just hearing them grunt every time they hit the tennis ball. I just love that. It's so funny to me.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I'll have to send it over. Yes, and you can make fun of me. It's okay. Yeah. Okay, so I know on your Substack you're writing about Uranus and Gemini talking to Neptune and Aries, the first of 5 times they'll align between 2025 and 2027. You wrote about the 200-year history on your Substack with 10 occurrences. You went into those. So talk to us about Uranus and Gemini and Neptune and Aries and what kind of conversation they're having.
Yes. Well, okay. So Uranus is the planet of revolution, rebellion, innovation, independence, the unexpected. Neptune is the god of fresh water in the sea, the planet of illusion, deception, compassion, intuition. So over the last 200 years, this is, I think, the 10th time. Let's see, it happened. So the last time this happened was 1993. It happened 3 times in 1993. It happened 5 times between 1966 and 1968, 5 times between 1954 and 1956, 5 times between 1939 and 1942, 5 times between 1906 and 1908, 5 times between 1880 and 1882, 5 times between 1868 and 1870, 5 times between 1853 and 1855, and 3 times between three times in 1821. So this is the ninth time actually in the last 200 years. So for the historians out there, you can check out my Substack, or maybe you know already what was going on, but there's a lot of shifting here because Neptune is that nebulous planet. It breaks down. It's the clouds, so the clouds are constantly moving and reshaping. Uranus is like the lightning or the thunder. It's that unexpected energy. So that brings about just like unexpected shifts and changes. It's like one of these times happened right before the Civil War, another one right after the Civil War. One of them was happening right during World War II. But this is the first time this one has happened, and this is the first of 5 times. Like, we're gonna get this Neptune Uranus alignment 5 times beginning right now. We're already living in it right now because we've been feeling this since July 7th, and it's going to kind of resonate in this frequency until October 22nd, but it happens exact on August 30th. But this is the first of 5 times. 4 of these 5 times, Uranus is going to be in Gemini and Neptune in Aries. One of the 5 times, which is the next time it happens, Uranus is going to be in Taurus and Neptune in Pisces. So that's kind of unique. But I just think like we're going through a massive shift in terms of conscious awakening. And this hasn't happened. The last time Uranus in Gemini aligned with Neptune in Aries was 1405 BC. So, I mean, you got to be a real serious historian to know what was going on in 1405 BC. But that's how long it's been. But you think of is Gemini as the sign that rules the conscious because it's ruled by Mercury. Uranus, the revolution, so it's the wake-up call to what's going on in our minds. Neptune is the unconscious. It's the clouds. So you've got Gemini, which is the conscious. Neptune is the unconscious, but Neptune is in Aries. So it's like we're becoming, yes, it's electric. We're becoming unconsciously aware of ourselves, of who we are. Like who am I? Like this is a question we need to be asking ourselves. Like, who am I? Like, let me get a sense of myself. And if the answer to that question is not based in love, then that is the dream that needs to be reimagined. That is because we all deserve love, but it has to begin with ourselves. And so, yeah, that Uranus in Gemini is waking us up to maybe where we're missing love, where we're not looking for love within ourselves is where we should be looking for love. Maybe ideas are going to come about suddenly or unexpectedly from other people around you where you're able to see their love, and it's a good example or reflection for how you need to show yourself love. Yeah.
All good reminders.
Yes.
Because as we've talked about before, relationships on Earth, all kinds of relationships that we have are the opportunity for reflection and for growth.
Yes.
And that's why we're here.
Yes.
So relationships with ourselves and with others, it's like kind of a main ingredient in what we're baking here.
Absolutely. So like, I'm curious to know from like people in the chat, what they've been feeling since like July 7th in terms of love, commitment to love, how they feel about loving themselves. Has there been any new awakenings that have come about since early July that has sort of sparked that thing within them that says, I need to be more compassionate with myself. I need to forgive myself. That's part of what this is.
Yeah, I feel like if we dig deep enough, we'll always find something somewhere that we can forgive ourselves for, and even asking ourselves, like, where can I extend grace to someone today?
Yes.
What does that look like? And sometimes it's not even about actually talking to the person or sending them a text or an email or whatever. It's like, no, it's just the inner work that you're doing with that energy of grace.
Such an important reminder that everything that you do in terms of love, it doesn't have to be an action necessarily. It could be the action that's occurring within you and just the thought that you're having about that individual. Yeah.
Yeah. And as Jax is saying, I was literally thinking love really is the answer. We
Yes.
overcomplicated all of this.
Yes. Exactly.
Yeah.
That's such a major theme with Venus and Leo aligning with these points. It's all about love, and that's why, like, in my podcast this week, the summary, first thing I said was like love, love, love in the summary, because
Yeah.
that's what it's about right now.
Yeah.
What's your relationship with love?
We hear that word so many times, and maybe it's tossed around in a way that doesn't really reflect love. Maybe it's just a word that's become an adjective to describe a lot of things. But I do think that this is giving us that opportunity to go back to the foundation of it and think about our relationships. Robin was just saying that part of her reflection, it looks like, is that it's not okay to accept the bare minimum.
Oh my God, yeah, exactly. That's
Yeah.
that's such a huge point, because and that's really where Virgo is playing in as well, because Virgo is about eliminating what's no longer serving you. So let's get the energies outside of us, and it might be a physical thing. Maybe you're holding on to something from a past relationship that was toxic, and you need to let that go. You need to put it on the sidewalk or put it in the trash lovingly or whatever it is, because it's not reflecting who you are anymore. So
Yep.
yeah,
Let the
yeah,
hate and blame go.
yeah,
Absolutely. As we're
yeah.
talking about this, it actually reminds me. So I was selling one question tarot reports. And I've done this a few times. They sell out. They've been really, really popular, which is
Mm,
fun for me. But the
yeah.
reason why I'm bringing it up, because as I'm sitting here listening to you talk about this, because the person who purchases it gets to ask one question,
Yes.
and then I pull cards and do the report. A lot of people, because this has been this week, have asked about the relationship to themselves, like how can I do better, be better? And a lot of people are asking about the relationship with their significant other. So there's a lot of love questions about self and other that are just naturally coming up
Yes.
in these questions. So people are right on time with their questions, even if they don't know the astrology to back it up.
Exactly. And and that's to say that maybe this totally was random with Travis Kelce and and Taylor Swift, that they just chose this day because whatever, it was the right day on her schedule, or who knows. But because yeah, people surprise you that way, where whatever they're bringing up is in direct reflection to the astrology.
Yeah. They're right on
Yes.
time. We're
Right
always
on
right on
time.
time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We're in tune with these energies, whether you're consciously aware of it or not.
That's true. But
Yeah.
sometimes you have the dark night of the soul and you're like, wait a second, I need to talk to somebody that can help me. And then you find astrology or astrology finds you. And then you never let it go because it's such a helpful friend. Yeah.
Yes.
I think the last thing we had on here for astrology before we go into the headlines, Mercury sextiles Chiron. And then you had a note about half moon and Sagittarius. So where do you
Oh
want to go with
yeah,
that?
yeah. So that's kind of at the end of the week. The week begins with everything that we talked about right now. That's where we are with Venus and Mercury moving out of the retrograde shadow, Venus in Leo aligning with Saturn, Neptune, Uranus, and Pluto. But by the time we get to the end of the week, since Mercury is out of its retrograde shadow, now it's really moving. By the end of the week, it's going to be like the retrograde shadow ended at 15 degrees Leo. By the end of the week, Mercury is going to be at 26 degrees Leo, which aligns with Chiron at 26 degrees in Aries. This is building upon the frequencies that we've already talked about, where we're saying, what are you afraid to, what's the conversation that you're afraid to have? This is helping you open up and say, I'm ready to have this conversation. I've been avoiding this conversation. I've been afraid to broach this subject, but I need to get it out. This is part of the, this also couples with the sun in Virgo squaring the moon in Sagittarius. It's like we've got to get to some hard truths in order to clear that energy that is no longer serving us. Remember, Virgo rules the intestines, and the intestines are that part of the body that eliminate whatever's in the body that's no longer serving the body. So in order to know what's not serving the body, we need to be honest about whatever's festering within us. We might be avoiding that honest conversation because we're afraid to have it. And that's where, what's it say? Wednesday, I'm going to be watching my mouth. Okay.
So maybe some things might fly out of our mouths this week.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, there could be, maybe you end up saying something, and the half moon actually happens on Saturday. And then Mercury forms that exact trine to Chiron on Sunday. So it's at the end of the week. But, you might end up saying something that you didn't really want to say, but you needed to say it in order to clear out what's not, what you don't want to be there.
Yeah, the Virgo clearing. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I want to share this little story or comment in our live chat.
Yeah.
Because I do think that I value this community. I think a lot of the same people show up week after week and have conversations with us and with each other in the chat. And we were talking about astrology and how impactful it can be, and how astrology sometimes finds you. Lorraine shared in the comments, my sister and I were estranged because she couldn't accept the fact that I studied astrology. And I just found out on her birthday, July 16th this year, that she had died in December of 2023.
Oh,
and it gives me chills as I say that out loud. And one of the really beautiful things about this community and why we come on and do this show every Tuesday, there's a bunch of people underneath her comment, sending condolences. And my bet is none of these people maybe have ever met in person, but they're connecting through words, through the chat, and supporting each other. And whether it's through the live chat or even you're just commenting to me and Scott after and you're watching the replay, we read those and we want to know what's going on. And so, Lorraine, thank you for sharing that.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Thank you, Lorraine. Wow, that's interesting that it happened in July, with all these planets in the air and fire signs, like bringing it to light, something that had been hidden since 2023.
Yeah. Lindsay's asking for a bit of clarification in the comments. So should we be saying the things this week? So if we're feeling it, we're doing that Virgo shedding.
Yep.
Should we be saying it?
I think you're going to be saying it one way or the other. It's almost like not even like a should we be. It's like you're going to be saying something. So in order to make it happen more fluidity with greater flow, let's say, you want to be aware of like, this is the thing that's bothering me. Because like the other way to look at it is like, I'm not going to say anything. But if you know something is agitating you and you're holding it in, something might happen that will make you want to blurt it out regardless, where you can't hold your tongue. Or maybe something happens where you're like, okay, I can't ignore this anymore. I would recommend, opening your mouth and saying what you need to say. But if you're doing it, you want to do it from that place of love. It may not if you're holding it in, it may not come across as love. It may come across in a way that's harsh. But if you're doing it more consciously, you have the ability to articulate yourself from that place of love, from a place of coherence, rather than anger or agitation.
Okay. That's a good clarification for all of us as we're opening our mouths and how
Yes.
we open them and what we say. Debbie's sharing in the comments, I'm struggling with letting go of the past when the past included my husband who died unexpectedly last year, trying to figure out who I am now without him because we were together since we were 12.
Oh my God.
My heart just goes out to you, Debbie.
Oh, wow.
And thank you for Lorraine and Debbie and whomever else for sharing these things about you and your life and what you're going through. I want this to continue to be a safe space where you can come and talk about what's going on, and to remember that you're not alone. And we, our set of challenges are different based on the person and their life, but we all go through trials and tribulations, and maybe we can't exactly understand what you are individually going through, but
Absolutely.
we'd at least like to be here to help.
For sure. It's such a special place that you've created here, Dallisa, where people feel safe enough to really share some intimate details of their lives. I would encourage Debbie by just saying that it's not really a time to escape the past. So if you're having trouble moving away from the past right now, that's okay. You're not doing anything wrong. Jupiter's in Cancer, which is the sign that rules the past. So we're all getting an expansive view of our past, our ancestry, our roots, our childhood. And now's the time to just sit with it all from now until next year when Jupiter finally moves into Leo. It may be another year before any of us feel like we're able to fully move on from whatever might be haunting us from the past, because it takes time. We all want to get out of that feeling, that discomfort. Just like, I don't want to feel this way anymore. Let's move on to the next thing. We have to sit in it. We have to be there. And I'd say our biggest lesson through all of this for everyone is when you're sitting with the past, be kind to yourself, care for yourself, nurture yourself, and be kind, caring, and nurturing to those that you're thinking about with regards to the past. Really recognize the fears and insecurities that they may have been experiencing that caused the outcome that created the situation that maybe you're trying to run from.
Yeah. Ooh, it gives me the chills. I'm so proud of everybody in the comments and the love that they're giving. Thank you to everybody that enjoys the show that we do each week, but just the love and support you're giving to each other. I really, really do appreciate it.
Yes.
Because the ripple that we make here goes out further past this show. And how we leave people after this show and during this show really does matter. So, yeah. Whew. Okay, should we go to news headlines?
Okay, let's do it.
Oh, mercy. Oh, because this first one is all about Scott and Gabriella at the Cracker Barrel.
Oh my
people
God.
are listening to this and this is maybe their first show and they're like, why do you guys keep talking about the Cracker Barrel?
I know. It's like it just won't go away.
It won't go away.
No.
Very short story. Cracker Barrel came up. I was talking about it. I'd been there with my mom, my aunt, and my uncle. And Scott's like, what's Cracker Barrel? And I about fell out of my chair because I didn't think that was actually possible that someone didn't know what Cracker Barrel was. So then it became like this joke every week about how Scott hadn't been to a Cracker Barrel. So he and Gabriella just got married, decided to stop at a Cracker Barrel and have an impromptu photo shoot in their store. And so it's been this whole thing for probably the last 4 or 5 weeks.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And then this week,
I know,
Cracker Barrel takes a huge dump of their stock and their value because the CEO, Julie Feiss Mazzano, took the logo there that was on the left with the old man in the chair, the old country store, and changed it into the logo on the right, which is a definitely more simplified
Mm-hmm.
logo.
Yeah.
This reminds me of when we were talking about the Sweeney jeans ad thing like
Oh,
3 weeks
right.
ago.
Oh man. Yeah. People. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So then Scott starts sending me 57 text messages
I blew up Delisa's phone.
with all of these memes and everything about what people were saying online about this whole thing. So, what do you have to say about this, about Cracker Barrel? This is your new stomping grounds. It's your
I
new
know.
favorite restaurant. You told me that in
Seriously.
private. Sorry, I'm letting it out of the bag, but
Even though I've never actually eaten there, but yes, it's my favorite restaurant. It's so crazy. I mean, like people are texting me and uh messaging me. Like even Gabriella's dad like sent me a text message. He's like, because you guys are all into Cracker Barrel. I saw, it's like, what? Oh my god! Like so many, all these people are talking to me about Cracker Barrel. I'd never even heard of this place, but man, like she really touched a nerve. She really hit a nerve, and their stock, I don't know where it's at now, but it dropped like it just nosedived after this announcement. So yeah, I don't know what to say. This is the Uranus in Gemini aligning with Neptune and Saturn and Aries and Pluto and Aquarius, like just going through these major transformations, and people are not happy about it. What's going to happen? I don't know. I couldn't even find this woman's birth date. Nobody even knew what she looked like until like now she's like one of the most famous. She's almost as famous as Taylor Swift because her picture is everywhere on the internet. This poor lady, like, it's like wild. So I don't know. We'll have to see
yeah.
what happens, but things are changing. Society's changing.
Yeah.
Is it for the better, for the worse? I don't know. Is it a distraction from Jeffrey Epstein?
Yeah.
Because, that's what a lot of people are saying on the internet, of course. Everything's a distraction from Jeffrey Epstein because Jeffrey Epstein is the string that unravels the entire, it's the card that brings the whole house down, or the what's the Jumanji?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Let's put, yeah, exactly. I just got a call from Julie. She wants me to be the new Cracker Barrel mascot.
Judy's saying, I guess the picture of an actual barrel was a bigger deal than we thought. So
Yeah,
I
really.
think people were fighting about the old man in the
Yeah,
chair and
it's
yeah.
it's like yeah. Everybody online, the people that are upset are saying, this is the woke mind virus. They're getting rid of, because even like Gabriella mentioned this, like, isn't there something, like, isn't there like a racist connotation to this? Because like a cracker is like another term for a white
I
person, and you've
shouldn't
got like
laugh, but it
this
did cross my
old
mind.
man,
Yeah.
sitting on there. It's like, yeah. So there's just, I don't know. There's some connotations there, and people, don't want to see the changes happening, and
Yeah.
I empathize with them. I haven't heard people on the other side saying, "No, we want this old man out of here." So, yeah,
Yeah. The silver lining, Diana says, luckily it's a beautiful picture of their CEO.
yeah, exactly. They did a
And it
good job
is. Yeah.
with the headshot. Yeah, yeah. You look like you might be related to her, Delisa.
Oh, that's so funny. Yeah, there could be. She's my long lost cousin.
Exactly. Are you guys not related?
Not that I'm aware of. No, but so yeah, Xavier, or however you, Xaviera,
Xavier.
Xavier,
I think
was
so.
asking what they serve there. It's kind of like a
Is
Denny's.
I'm saying that wrong. It's Xaviera.
Yeah, I think there's
Xaviera.
an A. Yeah,
Xaviera. Yeah.
um, but I think it's kind of like Denny's. Yeah.
No,
So
it looks like Denny's, but it's not the Denny's. Denny's is just a coffee shop. Cracker Barrel is more than Denny's. It's like they diluted Cracker Barrel into Denny's. It almost looks like the Denny's logo, but Denny's is just a coffee shop. Cracker Barrel
true. Yeah.
is a gift shop and a restaurant. And the gift shop is very specifically curated to a certain style. So I would not compare Cracker Barrel to Denny's. Not at all.
So Christy is saying they're keeping the old logo apparently because of backlash and stock decline.
Okay. Well, good. So that's Uranus and Gemini. It's like Uranus and Gemini is like, hey, this is a shock. You better listen to people. You better listen to what the public's saying. That's what Uranus and Gemini is all about.
Next time I apparently need to get the fried chicken. I think I've had their boneless chicken. It's pretty good. Anyway, some people love them. Some people are like, meh. So, here, late breaking news.
Oh, yes. Javiera.
Oh, Javiera. I like that.
Thank you, Javiera. Thank you, Javiera. Yes. I love it. Javiera. Okay, I will remember this now.
And then if there's any confusion, Cracker Barrel is cheese in Australia.
What?
There's a brand. There's a Cracker Barrel cheese.
Oh my God. The story just keeps twisting.
Okay, we need to move off of it or we're going to be here all night talking about Cracker Barrel. And
let's be here all night. Yeah, the Cracker Barrel hour with Dallisa and Scott.
Oh my gosh. Oh, mercy. Okay. So this is the big dumper. And no, I did not accidentally say big dumper on the live stream.
Yes.
Mariners, this is my team.
So do you know who he is?
Heck yeah, Mariners. I grew up in the Seattle area. Mariners are my team. I've been watching their games. So Cal Riley, also known as the big dumper, because I guess he has a big booty.
Yeah.
And he kind of does. I have been looking. Just to be like, what is all the hype about?
Yeah.
And so he hits home run number 50, which was a big deal because it's the most home runs hit by, he's a catcher. That is his actual position. Yes. But you said that there was an interesting astrology correlation to this. So what did you pick up on this?
Yeah, so that's what's funny because like Dallisa is a huge Mariners fan, but I'm the one that sent this article to Dallisa. So, and the reason why is because, whenever there's a big sports story or something, I want to, see like, okay, well, what's going on with this guy's astrology? Of course, like with Travis Kelce, I don't have his birth time because I guess they're not famous enough. But, he was born November 26th, 1996. So like Dallisa, a Sagittarius.
96.
Yeah, 96. They're young these days, these athletes, So
wait, December what?
November 26th.
Okay.
Did I say December? I meant November.
No. I may have heard that. I was thinking about, wow, his birthday every few days or every few years is on Thanksgiving. That's where my brain was going. And then I was like, wait, I'm not paying attention. What is Scott saying?
It is Thanksgiving. Yeah. November 26th. Exactly. So Sun in Sagittarius. But what struck me is, first of all, okay, thinking of like the Sagittarius energy, home run, it's like you, Dallisa, throwing the axe, like that Sagittarius energy likes to see things fly. It's the archer with the arrow, like watching the arrow fly and hit the target. That's so much of hitting the ball, watching it fly over and man, when he hit that home run like looked like it was going to leave the stadium. It was like upper deck. It was a bomb. So that's the Sagittarius energy. He is the first switch hitter to hit 50 home runs since Mickey Mantle, and the only one to do it. Like they're the only two that have hit home runs from both sides of the plate and hit 50. But he is the only person to hit more than 20 home runs on both sides of the plate. So, of course, I'm like, he's got to be a Gemini moon, because it's the twins, both sides of the plate. And, of course, he's a Gemini moon. So I'm like, wow, okay, so he's a Gemini moon. Well, what was going on in his chart that would indicate, that maybe this is the time for this to happen? And what struck me, and this is why I say, I'm always saying to you, Dallisa, and to the people in the chat, that it's all how you're working with the energy. Nothing is good or bad. It's all how you're working with the energy. And the energy always wants to be directing you towards your north node. And so yesterday, Raleigh was going through some really difficult transits. The sun was squaring not only his sun, but his Pluto.
Oh.
I mean, those are days where it's like the sun squaring, like he was born with the sun and Pluto at the same degree or 1 degree apart from each other. So that's super intense. Like it's hard when the sun squares your Pluto. It's hard when the sun squares your sun. But I mean, if you're born with the sun conjunct Pluto, that's like twice a year. You're just hit where you may feel like you can't get out of bed. But this guy's breaking records and hitting home runs, you know, of course. And Valerie, her husband, loves golf. You know, Tiger Woods is a Sagittarius moon. So, of course, they love to see that ball fly. So the sun was squaring his Pluto and his sun. He is also going through his Saturn return. He was born with Saturn at 0 degrees in Aries. That's where Saturn is right now, 0 degrees in Aries. And this is what everyone, oh no, it's my Saturn return. Oh no, woe is me. What's going to happen? Bad things. No, it doesn't have to be that way. And so how is he able to take this energy and manifest it into something positive? Well, you have to look at the North Node. And he was born with the North Node in Libra. So maybe you can tell me, Dallisa, I did a little bit of research, you know, to try to understand why, like, because I feel like he's following his North Node. If you're following your North Node, then these hard transits are much easier. You get rewards instead of punishments during your Saturn return if you're following that North Node frequency. So just quite simply, the fact that he hits on both sides of the plate, that's Libra, right? Because, you know, he's hitting on both sides of the plate. So that's the scales. It's creating balance. He's hitting on the left. He's hitting on the right. He's as good as a catcher as he is as a hitter. Last year, he won the Gold Glove, which has nothing to do with how good you're hitting the ball. It's how you are on the field. He won the Gold Glove. So that means that he was the best catcher in the American League last year in terms of fielding, but he's also hitting the cover off the ball. So he's balanced in terms of being a good hitter and a good fielder. He's hitting on both sides of the plate. But then also, apparently, he said something. Yeah, he publicly called out the Mariners management in 2023 for underspending, holding leadership accountable. You know, that's not being selfish. That's thinking about, this is my team, you know, and we're all working really hard here, and you need to give us more help. And so you need to hold up your end of the bargain, your end of the scales. He was calling them out. And so, you know, apparently, like, he's not just a brute force. He's refined. He's graceful. You know, he's composed. He leads quietly with presence and steadiness. So, yeah. How does that sound to you, Dallisa, being a fan of the team?
Great. And I'm going to watch him play baseball just a bit differently now that I have his astrological blueprint explained to me. Yeah. Anytime I hear him give remarks to the media, he usually is, in my opinion, more on the more introverted or quiet side. He'll answer questions, but I never feel like he's trying to brag about something or be boastful. So yeah, he's fun to watch because it's like every time he's up to bat, he's doing something. Even the announcers the other night, they're like, oh, you know, he didn't hit the ball this time, you know, being up to bat, he's a mere mortal, you know, it's like, so anybody who's into baseball, it's fun watching the Mariners, just to even watch him play.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And we still have like probably 20 something more games left in the
Yeah,
season.
and
So
they're fighting for a playoff spot right now. And yesterday it was interesting too because of course Venus moving into Leo, that aligned with his Saturn in Aries. So it's like even though it's a Saturn return, even though the Sun was squaring his Sun and Pluto, there was a gift with Venus aligning with his Saturn in a positive way, a fire trine that gave him that gift, and he was able to break the record.
amazing.
Yeah,
Amazing. Well, thanks for giving us that insight on him. He's fun to watch, and how the connection to astrology really does play into our energy and our life. Really
totally.
fascinating. Okay.
Oh boy,
So
yeah,
we're going to switch gears.
yeah.
Um, so I think we all know that Virginia Giuffre, I think that's how you say it. I may be mispronounced.
Giuffre.
Giuffre, yeah, maybe, yeah. She exited. I'm going to use that word because YouTube doesn't like the other word.
Oh,
So she exited off of the earth allegedly.
hmm?
Well, this is an article like Beyond the Grave.
Mm.
This is her autobiography called Nobody's Girl that is supposed to be out in the weeks to come. So would this be part of what you were talking about with like the Uranus and Gemini, Neptune, Aries, or like this electric seeing
Yeah.
things that we hadn't seen before?
Yes, the shock. The
Yeah.
shock. It's like what's going to be in this book? Is she going to name names that she didn't name before? Did she have like what do they call it? One of those things where it's like there's a term for it. If this happens, something happens to me, then I have like
Kill
a
switch.
switch. Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
And I've sent everything that I know to like a ghostwriter or whatever, and we've got a publisher, and it's all coming out. Like one could only hope, because what happened to her, it just doesn't. It's hard to buy into it, just because of how open she's been about like if this were to happen to me, know that I didn't do it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's interesting because she was born with Leo sun, Leo moon, Leo rising,
Oh,
all in the first house. Leo sun and moon in the first house. So this is why she's like the most courageous victim, where she's like, yeah, everyone can know me. I'll put myself out there. This is what happened to me. Interesting that this also came out with wait, hold on a second. Let me change something. Apply here. There we go. So so this came out when she's a Leo rising, Leo sun, Leo moon, and this came out that the book's going to be released when Venus moves into Leo. This Mercury is transiting through Leo in her first house, conjunct with her sun. So, bringing that voice, a light to her voice beyond the grave. Mars also aligning with her ascendant, transiting through her third house, the house of communication. So that courage to speak up, speak out from beyond the grave. Yeah. And
go ahead.
Venus is also aligning with her Jupiter in Sagittarius, the transiting Venus. So expansion. So yeah, what are your psychic? What are you getting?
No, you want to know what just happened?
What happened?
Facebook just kicked our video off.
No way.
Yep. I just saw the notification. So I knew that the one word was going to be sensitive for YouTube, but I'm wondering, even just saying her name, Facebook heard it. But I just got the notification that said Facebook has stopped your stream.
What?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Uh-huh. Which makes me want to talk about it more, but
exactly. Seriously. They're doing whatever they can to like hide the story, to hide what's, the truth. The truth.
Yep.
It's going to tear down society. But that's exactly what needs to happen with Pluto and Aquarius. So they can take down these videos as much as they want, but it's not going away. People are not stopping thinking about this and knowing, it's just too big of a story, and they're doing too much to try to hide the truth. So Yeah.
Yep, we're still on YouTube, but yeah. I have never had that happen ever when I've
Wow.
been streaming content.
Wow.
Just shows you how much they really are paying attention and how much artificial intelligence is monitoring everything.
Exactly.
Can do far more than humans could before. So,
Yes.
yeah.
Wow.
Woo. Okay. Well, let's move on to our next story.
Okay.
Britney Spears.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh God.
I think she's a Sagittarius too.
Yeah. Let me pull
Um,
up Brittany. I have her
so
chart here.
fans are more concerned. People have been concerned for a while. I
Oh
actually
yeah,
had
years.
looked at her Instagram probably a few years ago, and the energy on that account is so
Dark.
strange and
Yeah.
dark.
Yeah.
And there's been even conspiracies that it's not even her, and that somebody else is doing the content. But anyway, so apparently she posts a photo of herself where she has a rose emoji on her body in a strategic location. So people are kind of freaking out online. But I can't say I'm not surprised. I feel for
Mm,
her and her family and her friends and her kids. And,
yeah.
but, she could be getting some astrological transits that may be causing some upheaval.
Yeah. So I'm pulling up her chart right now to see. I thought I had it, but I had to look it up real quick. So let's see. So here's Brittany. And yeah, Brittany is a Sagittarius sun, born December 2nd, 1981. And she's a Libra rising and an Aquarius moon. So she's got that triple extrovert energy where, like, she's a Sagittarius stellium with Uranus, Mercury, the Sun, and Neptune all in Sagittarius, all in the third house. She's got the moon in Aquarius in the fifth house. The third house is associated with the third sign, which is Gemini, which is extroverted. Sagittarius is fire, that's extroverted. Aquarius, her moon, is air, that's extroverted. Her fifth house, where the moon is, the fifth house is Leo, that's extroverted. Her rising sign is Libra, that's air, that's extroverted. So a lot of extroverted energy with Brittany. She was born, so, on one hand, yes, it's like, oh, is that her? Is she being forced to do this? On the other hand, it's also like, is she mentally well? And she's just really desires attention, like I could totally see that too in just looking at her chart. Her ascendant is at 2 degrees in Libra. So again, this is aligning. Like, for everyone out there, if you have key points or planets in air or fire at the first couple degrees, then you're being hit by Saturn and Neptune in Aries, Uranus in Gemini, Venus in Leo, Pluto in Aquarius. Those points are all aligning with Brittany's ascendant. She's going through a transformation of her personality, a transformation of how people perceive her. And then Mars has been aligning with her moon. So that could indicate, that she had the courage to take off her clothes and post this image of herself. I don't know if courage is the right word, but it's that impulse, let's say, to do something. And look, Brittany is the queen of doing things impulsively when Mercury's in retrograde. She's like the example that I use to everyone when, I bring her up. She shaved her head during Mercury retrograde. She got married in Vegas over a weekend and got it annulled like the next week during Mercury retrograde. That's classic Mercury retrograde behavior, as opposed to like deciding to post a nude on social media.
Yeah, and this was on the 24th, this article came out. I'm not sure when the first post or when the Instagram post came out, but I would assume then it was still at the very end of Mercury in shadow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay. This one we can just kind of talk about quickly. More Americans applying for refugee status in Canada. So this is hitting the news again. Actually, I might just kind of cruise through these Trump headlines. There's a few of them in here. Chicago leaders denounce Pentagon plans for military deployment in Chicago. We have a headline again about fears around his health. I did a reel on this. I think it'll come out tomorrow, just from what I channeled a few days ago about what I was getting.
What was your insight? Can you give us a tidbit before a sneak peek before
Yeah,
the real?
because yeah. So, and I only know what I channeled because my amazing assistant Campbell sends me video clips, and she's like, "What do you think about posting this?" And so she sent me one where I was talking about his health, and the clip basically talks about how this is a fork in the road for him health wise, and so Spirit was saying that he could potentially exit if he doesn't take incredible care of himself, like right now.
Well, Mars is conjunct his Chiron. It's not
Oh,
exactly conjunct. It's moving into a conjunction. It's about 2 degrees away right now, but it's going to hit exact on Friday, Saturday. Friday,
oh,
Saturday is when it hits exact. And of course, Pluto is transiting through the very initial stages of his sixth house, which is the house that rules health. It moves out of his sixth house, it retrogrades out of his sixth house into the fifth house on September 4th. So maybe that's intensifying something regarding his health. And Jupiter's also squaring his Chiron as well. Jupiter's squaring his Chiron, so
ooh.
expanding the wound. It could be something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, so yeah, we have those headlines about Canada and Chicago, Trump's hand. This one, I'll just connect in with this as well, which is U.S. fighter jets scramble multiple times to intercept Russian spy plane off of Alaska. And this article is from yesterday. So just kind of global affairs, leadership. Yeah. Do you think it's the Uranus and Gemini, or do you think it's some of the Neptune, Saturn stuff?
It's all of it,
Yeah.
And again, this is why I encourage people to go and check out my Substack and just read all the articles there that I've written. We're almost up to 30 subscribers,
Yay!
Dallisa. Like each week I get 10 new subscribers, but all of these, I've written articles about all this when you look at it historically, with whether it's Neptune conjunct Saturn or, you know, Neptune sextile Uranus. Like, they bring so much upheaval in terms of global affairs, world leaders, the breaking down of structures, the revolution of what's happening in the world. Like the what's normal is no longer going to be normal anymore. It's shifting in a dramatic way. And yeah, I mean, I think it's just all of that. Like, this is kind of the holding pattern that we're going to have for through the end of this month. Then Saturn's going to move back into Pisces next week, and so that's going to maybe slow some things down a little bit. But then Uranus is going to move back into Taurus, and Neptune's going to move back into Pisces. So things are going to shift a little differently towards the end of the year, but then they all move back into these air and fire signs next year. And when they do, they're not going to be connecting with each other as tightly, all together at once, with Pluto as well. So I don't know if that means there's going to be a greater flow or greater chaos.
I think it'll be chaos based on, and I hate to say that, I don't
Yeah.
want to send people into fear, but just based on what I've been channeling in my Sacred Signals community lately, um, this fall feels really tense. And then the first chunk of 26 does as well. So I think I'm hearing in my ear from Spirit, like 6 months, it feels like that there's a lot of intensity starting right around the corner from now.
Yeah. I think
Yeah.
it is going to build in intensity just when you think about, even though they're not all connecting with each other in the same way they are now, maybe this is like kind of holding everything together before it all falls apart, because this is the first, like I said earlier, the first of 5 times that Uranus and Neptune are going to connect. I think by the time we get to 2027, when the last time happens, we're going to be looking at a completely different world from what we're living in right now.
Yeah,
It's
I
going to be
agree.
dramatically different. I don't know exactly what that means. But yeah, and in terms of Trump also, like this, when he's a Gemini and a Sagittarius moon. So when the sun is transiting through Virgo, it's going to be bumpy for those that have key planets or points in Gemini or Sagittarius. Sorry, Dallisa.
No, it's all right.
But you're working with the energy.
Yeah.
So just like me, I just made it through Leo season and I got married during Leo season. So, yeah, it's all how you're working with the energy. But
Yeah.
I don't know if Trump has an astrologer in his back pocket. So,
He should.
yeah, if
He
he needs
should.
one, he can call me. I'll try to give him some insight. But, and I'd work with anyone, it has nothing to do with politics. I
Yeah.
just want to help people. So,
Yeah. Yep.
yeah.
All right. A couple of good news stories. The first one being pig lung transplanted into human for the first time, paving the way for organs on demand for patients on the donor waiting list. So that's huge. We've talked about this before, how technology and artificial intelligence, we're just going to leap us into the future with what we're able to do and able to cure. So I'm going to show the other one while we're here. The other one, the last article that we have, is a breakthrough new treatment could reverse Down syndrome.
Wow.
Cutting edge technology could one day transform treatment for Down syndrome as researchers have successfully deleted an extra chromosome in lab grown cells. And it gives me like chills from head to toe as I even say that out loud. This, I think we could go down a huge rabbit hole at some point about, should we be doing it or not doing it? And, would the soul opt into getting a pig organ before they're born, the person who's incarnating? Or does the soul want to incarnate as someone that has Down syndrome for the set of lessons and evolution they get? Having Down syndrome. There's a whole slew of things we could talk about regarding like spirituality and what's going to happen with our health. I'd like to think that spirit and energy is very aware and knows everything and knows what it would be going into. But there may be varying opinions on whether this is a good thing or a bad thing. And I don't know anyone personally that has Down syndrome. I worked with an organization called Opportunity Village in Las Vegas for a long time. And there were a lot of amazing people with Down syndrome that I worked with volunteer-wise over there. So, I wouldn't want to change someone, but I think that there's multiple viewpoints and discussion that can be had around this. But medical advancements, so pig organs and working with chromosomes. So what do you get from this?
I mean, it seems like every week you bring a new article where there's some sort of miraculous potential or something's happened that technology advancing with health. It's really interesting, the pig lung one, because Uranus is the planet of invention, and it's transiting through Gemini, which is the sign that rules the lungs.
Of course.
So it's very on the nose there. So, yeah.
Wow.
I think people in the chat are wanting us to run for office.
Run for office? Maybe in like a grassroots committee.
Yeah.
If I were going to run for office, I would need to have some kind of impact that I could have. And I just don't think that's the current system for the most part.
I would run for office if it's about taking down the old system and being like, we're actually, my thing would just be freedom and respect and, not trying to control and subjugate people. That would be my platform. They were all unique individuals, but like running in this current system, there's no way.
Yeah. Yeah. And
No way.
Jessica brings up an interesting point about
Jessica,
the
yeah.
pig lung
Oh.
transplant. And the comment says poor pigs. And why I feel like I want to just mention, have a comment about that. Maybe there will be pigs that will be lab grown. I know that sounds like really futuristic, but I think that there will be a way of even creating animals in a lab. I know that sounds so like sci-fi, strange horror movie.
No, I could definitely see that happening.
Yeah. And so then the question becomes, well, if you create something in a lab, does it still have a soul? And, what's that agreement that soul or that energy has in embodying that animal? So, like I said, we could go down all kinds of rabbit holes.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. But
And that's what's going to happen. There's going to be so many rabbit holes with all these technological advancements. What's right, what's wrong? I don't know. We're rewriting the script.
We are rewriting it. Just like you said, in like 2027, we're going to get to this point where we're just looking at everything, just wildly amazed at how much it has changed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we're going to do our drawing here in a moment.
That's it. That's all. I feel like the episode ended.
We have been here almost an hour and a half.
I know it's gone by so fast. Who was the top commenter today? Like,
on YouTube.
They do that on YouTube. I thought that was.
And I would say, honestly, just go follow my channel on YouTube and watch us there, because it sounds like the appetite over on Facebook might not be great for our content. And so I would you can look it up, Dallisa Hawking, or I have it linked on my website. Or you can go on YouTube and just type in @Spirit and Spark, and then just hit the subscribe button and turn the bell notifications on so you know when we go live.
Yeah.
That would be great. Let's see here. Live. Let me see if I can refresh this. What's today? The 26th. Where is it? I don't even see it. I know we're on there. Yeah.
Okay.
So, but you would know if you got first, second, or third place for points on YouTube if when you're typing in the comments, it shows it next to your name.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and it's always fun to see who's on there, because there was a lot of new people commenting a bunch today. So hard to tell who the real, and if you are first, second, or third, let us know in the comments and we'll give you a little cheers. I'm going to type my email address into the chat box here on YouTube. If I could type, that would be another thing that would be good. And so we're going to do our drawing here in a moment. If you're new to the show, we do this every week, where if you commented during the live stream, your name, your bauble goes in this jar, and I pull a complimentary free 12-month personalized tarot report for one person. And you got to email me by tonight, 11:59 p.m. Pacific time, August 26, 2025. And I'm putting my email address in there, so the lucky winner will have it. Scott, is there anything you want to mention about? We talked about your sessions, and you teach classes. You have a podcast, The Weekly Transit. Yep. Is there anything else you want to mention there?
I mean, I think you hit it all. I'll just say thanks for everyone in the comments and who's supportive and kind and wants me to run for president. You can always reach out to me for a reading if you want clarity and want to learn more about yourself. And if you're looking to feel empowered, that's what I'm here, is to empower those who want to connect with me, to give them clarity about who they are and how to work with the energy right now, the planetary transit. So, yeah.
Yay. Yeah. I'm teaching Mediumship 101 tomorrow night, the 27th. And so this is the final few hours to enroll in class, name your own price. And then once the class happens, You can buy it on demand, but the price is set at that point. So if you want to come and join, go over to spiritandspark.com. Name your own price. Join me in class. I'm going to teach you how to do easy, safe mediumship, and you can connect with people that have passed over that you've loved and pets that have crossed the Rainbow Bridge. And so, that's going to be tomorrow night, the 27th. So it's going to be fun. I know a lot of you have already registered, so it'll be nice to see everybody there. Okay.
Very cool.
I think it's time to do our drum roll.
Let's do it, Dallisa.
Okay, and everybody else, if you want to do it with us, here we go. Oh my gosh. Was it last week I pulled myself? Yeah. Michelle Marina. If you are Michelle Marina, you have until tonight to email me to claim your 12-month personalized tarot report. And so, Scott, we will be back again next Tuesday to do this all over again.
Thank you, Dallisa. Thank you. It looks like Valerie's number 1 and Javiera is number 2 in the...
Wow, Jax is not in the first.
Where's Jax? I barely saw Jax today. What's going on, Jax? Come on.
Oh my gosh. I love that. Yeah, make sure you give the video a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so already, and connect with Scott at theweeklytransit.com or myself at spiritandspark.com. And we'll see you next time. Bye.